Hey there guys, welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be creating this cool CSS animation with a navigation bar. You can see here we've got a navigation bar in the center of our screen, and inside of that navigation we've got 4 different list items. We've got home, about, work and contact. Now how this animation is going to work is that you can see in each of the items here they've got their own different color, and what's going to happen here, if we hover over one of the list items, the color that's associated with that list item to the left of the item, fill up the whole list item with that color. So if I hover over home, you can see from the left it then fills up the whole item with that color, and it'll be the same with about, work and contact. And it's a nice smooth animation, and we're going to be doing this using just CSS. So let's get right to it. So in the index.html we'll just create some boilerplate, and if I open this up you see we've just got an index file and a style.css file. So we'll actually link that style.css, give this a title of hover menu color, save that. Inside of the body, this is a navigation bar, so we'll use the nav element, and then we're going to use an unordered list, and then we're going to have list items with anchor tags nested inside of those. And the first one is home. Duplicate that 3 more times. Second one is about. Third one is work, and the last one is contact. Save that, and then let's open this up with live server. And there's our skeleton HTML. Let's go inside of style.css now and give it some styling. So the first thing we're going to do is just target everything inside of the HTML, and we'll remove the margin, and we'll grab the padding, remove all of the padding, and then we'll also set the box size in to border box. Save that. As you can see there, it's removed the margin and the padding. Now let's center all of this. So we'll say body, say display, flex, justify content to the center, align items to the center, and then give this a height of 100 viewport heights, and this should center our content. And then let's give it that background color, and this has a hex code of E74C3C. Save that. And let's also change the font family to Arial. Save that. So that's all we're going to need for the body. Let's now target the nav. So for the nav, this is going to have a width of 30%. And then let's give it a background color of white so we can actually see this nav. So there's our nav there. And let's also give it a little bit of margin. 10% on the top and bottom. And auto on the left and right, and that should be it for the nav. Next, let's target the list items and remove that bullet point. So we'll say nav ul li, list style to none. Save that. And then let's also make sure the width of the list items is 100% of the container, which in this case is the ul. Now from here, let's target the anchor tags inside of those list items. So we'll say nav ul li anchor tags, say display block width 100% of the container again. Let's give this a bit of padding, so we'll say padding 20 pixels, so they're a bit nicely spaced now. Now from here, let's remove that underline, so we'll say text decoration to none. Save that. That removes that horrible underline. And then what else do we want to do? We want to set the position of this to be relative, because we're going to be using the pseudo element of after, and we're going to be positioning that absolute inside of these anchor tags. That's why we're setting the position to relative. And then that should be it for the anchor tags. Let's now give them those individual colors on the left side of these items. So the way we do that is we'll grab the nav ul li, and then on the list items we want to apply this to the first child, which in this case is home, and on the anchor tag, and then we're just going to give this a border left, and this is going to be 10 pixels of width, make it solid, and then we'll give it a hex color of 3498 dB. Save that. So that's one for the home. Let's duplicate this now 3 more times. And instead of first child here, we'll use the nth child pseudo element. and in this case it's going to be 2. And we'll do the same for the third one. The nth child here is going to be 3, and then we'll use the last child pseudo element. Save that, and then obviously let's give them their own individual hex colors. So the second one for about is going to be FFD071, and then for the third one it's going to be F0776C, and then finally for the last one it's going to have a hex color of 1ABC9C. Save that, and that's the border left for each individual list item there. From here now, to create that CSS animation, we're going to be using the pseudo element of after. And at first, we're just going to apply that pseudo element to all of the anchor tags. So all of the anchor tags have this styling. And then we're going to target the background on hover for each of those individual list items to then create that animation. So it'll change the background color of whichever item we hover over to the color that's on the left of the item. So I hope that made sense, but I'll be explaining as we go along. So first, we're just going to start all of the anchor tags. So we'll say li, a, then the after pseudo element. And firstly, we need to include the content property, and then we'll give this a height of 100%, and then we'll say from the left, we'll say 0, and then from the top, we'll also say 0. And then initially, we want this to be a width of 0 pixels, and obviously, of course, we need to actually include the position of absolute here for this to work. And then because it's going to be a nice smooth animation, we'll grab the transition property, apply it to all, 0.3 seconds, ease. So now the pseudo element is in all of these anchor tags here. And then to create that hover effect, we're just going to change the width from 0 to 100%, and then whichever item we hover over, we'll change the background color to match and fill up the whole width of the anchor tag. So what we need to do is just grab this, because we're going to use the same colors, paste that in here, and then apply the after pseudo element to all of these. And then once we've done that, we'll remove all of this and then change this to be background. And then from here, we just use the hover effect on the after on each individual anchor tag and set the width of this to 100%, so that again, when we hover over each individual list item, it will create that smooth animation of changing the background color to whichever one we hover over. So we'll say nav, li, a, hover, and then apply it to the after pseudo element that we created. And then we'll say width to be 100%. Save that. Now our animation should be working. So you can see the animation is working, but we can't actually see the list items at the moment. So what we need to do is set the z index of the anchor tags to 2, and then set the z index of the after pseudo element, set that to -1. Save that, and then now if we hover over this, we can now see the list items and the animation is working as it should. But we could also improve this a little bit by changing the color of the text to white so it's a bit clearer. So we'll do that up here. So we'll say nav ul li a, and then on hover, and we're targeting the anchor tags here, and we want the color of this to be white. So when we hover over these, the text should change to white. And as you can see now, the animation is working just as it should. The text is clearer to see because we've changed it to white. And I think this looks pretty good. And again, how this animation is working is that we've set the position relative to the anchor tags for each individual item. We've given them all a border left. So initially on load, it just shows the color that is going to cover the whole list item when we hover over it. And then what we've done is use the pseudo element of after to create that pseudo element for each individual anchor tag. Initially, this is set to 0 because we don't want it to be showing the whole color on load. Position this absolute inside of each individual anchor tag, and then also apply the transition here. And then what we've done is target each individual anchor tag of the after pseudo element, set the background color to be whichever one is associated with that list item, then grab the hover pseudo element and applied it to the pseudo element of after. And then when we hover over this, we'll set the width of it to be 100%. So as you can see here, the animation is working just as it did in the demo example. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.